What's up, everybody? In today's video, what I want to look at is how the three central chapters of the book of Romans, chapters 6, 7, and 8, you can primarily trace out as a retelling of the Exodus narrative. And then it talks about what God is doing in the new creation, that he's actually bringing forth a new Exodus. Okay. Now, quickly before I hop into this, I just want to give a quick plug. If you like the content in this channel, please, I want to encourage you to consider subscribing, as that can really help this channel to grow. Okay. With that said, let's hop into it. Okay. So chapter 6 in the book of Romans is largely based, and I'll keep in mind, Romans is one of the greatest books ever written in the history of humanity. Okay. It's an extraordinary work of literature and obviously even greater work of theology. Okay. So chapter 6 is largely based around baptism. Okay. And within the Exodus narrative, we can directly trace this to the crossing of the Red Sea. Okay. In that it's just as Pharaoh and the armies go into the water and are crushed. So first off, the Israelites go into the water and are delivered through it. And then Pharaoh and his armies are crushed in the water behind them. Okay. Now, this is related in baptism to sin and death being crushed behind us as we enter into the death and resurrection life of Christ, into the life of the church and of being a Christian. Okay. So chapter 6, you can kind of relate to the Red Sea crossing moment. Then chapter 7, where he talks about, I do the very thing I don't want to do, and who will save me from kind of this quagmire of death. You could think of this as kind of the wilderness wandering, right? So chapter 7 is being the period where the Israelites they're between the Red Sea crossing and the Promised Land. Okay. And so this is kind of the Christian life, or the life of our modern world, where we're working through these things. And then chapter 8 being kind of the crux and the central chapter within the entire epistle to the Romans. Chapter 8 is the chapter of new creation. Okay. Which is akin or related to the crossing into the Promised Land that again occurs right after Torah, and then with the beginning of the book of Joshua. Okay, it's not a mystery here why Jesus's name actually is derived or comes from Joshua, because Jesus is the new Joshua, leading us into the new creation, into new heavens and new earth, where we've gone through our Red Sea crossing moment, we've persevered through the wilderness, and then he delivers us. Okay, there's therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus, for the law of the Spirit has redeemed you. Okay, from this, the will of the Spirit has redeemed you from this. I'm paraphrasing here, but from the life of sin and death. And then chapters 9 to 11 obviously go on to talk about what God does from there, with relating Jew and Gentile as one together under Christ. And then the rest of the book largely is about the unity of the church. So, but 6, 7, and 8 specifically trace out the Exodus here. When you see that, you can't unsee it, as it opens up the text for us. God bless.